Welcome back to our exciting channel, where we give the best breakdowns and have the most insightful discussions of trending German motor vehicles. And in today's video, we will be talking about 12 rebadged German cars that you would never have thought would be related. There are many cars that have different brands, but built on similar platforms. It's one thing that people just don't know about. Want to find out? Then join us as we will be giving you all that information for free. Ready? Well, let's get started then. Now, before we get started and dive into it, it's important that you know that rebadged doesn't necessarily mean that the cars are identical twins, but they're vehicles that share the same engines, built on the same platforms, and have similar tech. They are similar cars that are tuned to have similar style to match their brand's vibe, whether it's sportiness, luxury, or practicality. So fasten your seatbelts and hit that like and subscribe button as I take you on one hell of a ride. Coming up as our first pair of the day is the BMW Z4 and the Toyota Supra, two amazing performance cars that will give owners nothing but sheer confidence and a great sense of reliability. These two performance cars have totally different badges, but they were built on the same chassis and built by BMW in Austria, so you can tell that they're made to be very similar. They both use the B58 3.0-liter turbocharged inline-six engine that produces an incredible 382 horsepower in top trims. So you can tell that both cars are very fast and can also last you long. The electronics are very similar also, and they both use the ZF 8-speed automatic. Although the Toyota Supra has a tighter suspension, a more unique interior design, and distinct tuning for sharper turning. There are still arguments that the Supra deserved to be built by Toyota, but this mixture gave enthusiasts a beautiful sporty car that has been loved since it was introduced. Love it or hate it, but the truth is that it's a testament that badge engineering can create a great product. Coming up next is a pair that most people don't even know have a connection, the Mercedes GLA and the Infiniti QX30. They're both rides that were built on the Mercedes MFA platform, and they both use engines like the 2.0-liter Turbo 4 engine that produces 208 horsepower, and also a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission system. Stepping inside both rides, and you'd notice similar interior features, like the infotainment system and the switchgear. The Infiniti QX30 was tuned to have a sportier vibe, with a more compact suspension and better exterior styling. For example, it has a bolder grille. It was introduced in 2016, and the QX30 was Infiniti's attempt to have a ride that had Mercedes luxury features, but unfortunately, it flew under the radar. So next time you see a QX30, just know it's an undercover Benz. Another pair that is worth talking about is the Porsche Macan and the Audi Q5, two cars that have different appearances but are very similar in their features. Think about it. Have you ever thought that a Porsche could be rebadged to an Audi? Well, the Macan and the Q5 are built on the same MLB platform, and they have similar engine options like the 2.0-liter Turbo 4 engine, and also many shared electronic features like the infotainment system. But the Macan is a Q5 in a more defined style. It has a more sporty suspension, which makes driving cooler, better steering, and the iconic Porsche design. It was brought out in 2014, and Macan's performance is the type that makes an SUV feel like a sports car, while at the same time the Q5 moves more into practical luxury. They're the same structure, but they drive way differently. Up next is another Porsche and Audi connection, but this time there's an extra car that's also similar too. The Audi Q7, Porsche Cayenne, and the VW Touareg is another set of cars that have been rebadged, and although they're all different brands, they all have the same features that will make you think they're the same ride. All three of these rides were built on the VW's Group MLB platform, and they all share the 3.0-liter V6 turbo engine, and they all have very similar architectures. The Porsche Cayenne was updated in 2023, and it is a ride that's all about performance, with very sharp handling and up to 650 horsepower in the Turbo GT version. The Q7 focuses more on family luxury, and the Touareg Focuses was discontinued in the USA, but globally it's still very popular and offers budget-friendly luxury. The Mercedes X-Class and the Nissan Navara are another set of cars that are worth discussing, as they're both built on the same platform. In 2017, Mercedes shocked the entire world with the introduction of the X-Class, but it was built on the same chassis as the Nissan Navara. They also share the same engine, the 2.3-liter turbo diesel 4 engine, and it makes use of the same basic frame. Mercedes then decided to add their own luxurious touch with a redefined quality touch, top-notch quality materials, and a more distinct front-end design with a bolder grille. The X-Class was introduced to bring a more luxurious feel to the pickup segment, but many people saw it as a more expensive Nissan Navara, and that was what led to its discontinuation in 2020. Still, it's a good example of a car pad that was rebadged. The BMW X1 and the Mini Countryman are two cars that are related in many ways, but are from two different brands entirely. Both cars are built on the BMW UKL front-wheel drive platform, and they both make use of the B58 2.0-liter turbo 4 engine that chunks out around 228 horsepower in the higher trims. And they both use similar technology and electronics, especially the infotainment system. The X1 was upgraded in 2022, and it has become a more conservative pick with a more sleek and premium design. The Countryman, on the other hand, is less compact, more playful, and it has Minna's signature retro vibe. Whether you're looking for personality or practically, these two cars, regardless of the ones you choose, both deliver. So we're halfway through this video, and we've spoken about some amazing rebadged cars so far. But before we move forward to our next pair, I'd like to ask for a small favor. If you liked this content and you're enjoying it so far, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Over 99% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It would make a huge difference for us. So, is it done? Great. Thank you so much. So let's get back into it. There are many pairs out there, but who would have ever guessed that a hot hatch and a fiery sports car could ever be brothers? The Audi TT and the VW Golf R are two cars that are from two different brands entirely, but they were both built on the MQB platform, and both of them use the EA888 2.0-liter turbo engine, which produces a high amount of 315 horsepower and uses an all-wheel drive system. In 2018, the TT was upgraded, and it's a sleek and fine sporty coupe that has a low-slung design, while the Golf R is your typical hatchback used for daily driving but can perform as well as a sports car. This pair in particular is one that will come in as a shock to many people, seeing as the VW Routan is basically a Chrysler minivan. It was built in 2008. The Routan was a rebadged Chrysler Town & Country, sharing many features like the 3.6-liter V6 engine, the chassis, and many of their electronic features. Although the VW had some minor design tweaks, like the badges and a different type of grille, but still on the inside, it's a Chrysler. Unfortunately, it was a car that most people didn't really ask for, and the thought of a VW branded Chrysler just didn't fly as well as they thought it would. The VW Atlas and the Skoda Kodiaq are another two cars which are very similar in many ways, and they were both built on the same MQB platform. They both can use the same 2.0-liter turbo 4 engine, and they both have the same architecture in their build-up. The Atlas is a 3-row SUV that favors families as there is plenty of interior space, so that's the type of vibe that goes with the car. The Skoda Kodiaq, on the other hand, is a ride that was introduced in 2016, and it's a ride that is smaller than the Atlas, which offers a 5+2 seating layout for mostly European buyers. They are built on the same platform, but features and styling are different in many ways. They're in the same family, but offer different purposes. Coming up is another BMW and Mini collaboration, and this time it's the series Active Tourer and the Clubman. Both of these cars were developed and use the UKL front-wheel drive platform and have similar engines like the 1.5-liter Turbo 3 engine and the 2.0-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine. The 2 Series Active Tourer was updated in 2022, and it is a practical MPV that's perfect for families, which has a boxy and no-nonsense practical design. While the Clubman, although discontinued in 2024, was a quirky wagon that has a playful aesthetic design. The Audi A4 Allroad and the VW Passat Alltrack are 2 vehicles that both use the same MQB platform and at the same time use the VW's Quattro 4-motion all-wheel drive tech system, which makes them car relatives, and both of them are lifted wagons that are used for light off-road causal driving, although they're from different brands. The A4 Allroad is the quality and luxurious choice with a standard interior, while the Passat Alltrack is seen mostly in Europe and it is more budget-friendly. Ladies and gentlemen, our last car pair of the day is the VW Amarok and the Ford Ranger, 2 cars that were co-developed in 2022 and share the same chassis and have similar engines like the 2.0-litre turbo diesel engine and others. They also have very similar technology, especially with the infotainment systems. The Amarok has recently tuned its suspension system to make the driving smoother, and the interior is also very clean. The Ranger itself is more rugged. It has its own target audience. This pickup collab shows that cars with the same platform can still feel different. So there you have it, 12 rebadged German cars that you would have never thought were the same thing. But which was the one that caught you by surprise the most? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to help us out with a like and subscribe so you won't miss out on more exciting videos like this.